you coming to the table with your experiences from Black church, and you're coming in to a predominantly white industry.
You have to first recognize one thing that you said, that it is predominantly white.
Yes.
For example, industry standard.
Yeah.
Who created that industry standard?
Yeah.
Some white dude. The quote unquote industry standard things aren't set up for me to win. Because when I am walking in those rooms with 4 people that don't look like me, they're just waiting on me to make a mistake. I have to be clean. I have to be holy. I have to stay in my word. I got to be focused at all times. I can't have a day off.
You have to be kind of on guard.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody is.
Wow.
Everybody is.
Is it crazy for me to think that there would be a day when you didn't?
I think we first just have to cut the crap. You know what I mean? Stop lying to ourselves and saying that, oh man, everything's great. The advantage that I would say white people have is.
Hey everybody, this is Rita Springer. Welcome once again to the Rita Springer podcast and another episode of Worship is My Weapon. Today we have a little bit of a different setup. I have one of the sweetest friends I've gotten to meet in the last couple years, couple years, here in Nashville, Derek Winkley. And Derek does not hail from Nashville, Texas, right?
Texas.
He hails from Texas. An incredible producer, writer. Do you sing?
Sometimes.
You don't normally it's not like you spout off that you can sing, but I have a feeling you can sing.
Yeah, I just don't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I can, but.
Yeah, you probably can. I mean, he's just an incredible. I've written some great songs with you over the last several, and you just are an incredible producer, incredible just musician, and you're a pastor as well. And the beautiful thing about you that I've really loved is just some of the great conversations that we've had that just have to do with kingdom and what you're feeling and sensing God doing in the kingdom with just worship and music. And so I asked you about a month ago, I was like, would you ever just come and play while I sing? Because it is so hard for me for some reason, just to sit down and do these little YouTube things that I've been doing by myself. I think I get too much in my head about it, and it doesn't feel like it's so natural. And so my podcast manager was like, you need to find somebody that can just play for you. And when I was like, Derek, come play for me. And it's been, we've only done a couple. Today we'll do another one. That's why we are set up in here with this, because we're just going to go from the podcast to doing that. But it's so effortless when you've got somebody like you that's just like, deely-dee. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So I just was like, Derek, come do a podcast with me and tell us a little bit about your testimony. I want to know, I always love to know about people's beginnings. And I want to know, your beginnings in getting into music, but that's led you to the point where it's a serious thing for you, not in just, okay, how to make a living in this, how to make a living in what you're doing for the church, the tension of that, how to do that with the tension of it. Production-wise, you're also, that's a big chunk of what you do. You facilitate things for the church. That's a huge thing that you do in music. But how all of that works together, even in your heart, to pastor people, pastor musicians, raise up leaders. So tell us a little bit about how you got started. How did you even meet the Lord?
Well, my dad's a pastor. My mom was a teacher. And so I grew up in a house full of people who led people. My mom, she won Teacher of the Year multiple years.
Wow. Like a grade school teacher?
High school.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she was head of FCA. We lived in the hood too. So she was taking these hood kids, honestly, and taking them on college trips. Oh. I remember going to UT with her, SMU. She flew kids to Oregon. And so she was doing a lot of that work, and I was experiencing
getting them out of the poverty mentality.
And I think one of the things that I learned about that is that experience is the lack of experience, right? Without vision, people perish, And so she was giving these kids like just a different vision of like what life could be. And so I think that was like where a lot of what I do or what I try to do, you give me an idea and I can show you what it could be. You know what I mean? That. Like there's like a just a visionary aspect of what we do in music every day. And so I think that that's kind of where I got my start. And then my dad just being a pastor and growing up in church. And I've been playing, I was touring around Dallas playing drums and I was like 6.
Fully raised in the midst of it.
I was fully raised in the throes of everything. Church, I've seen everything when it comes to church.
And drums is what you went to first?
Drums is what I went to first. Huh. So my parents, I was beating on my dad had a Pontiac and I would beat on the dashboard. And so they got me a drum set when I was like 1. And
wow.
that's kind of started my journey. And then my mom being like the supporter that she was, she would tell every single church in the city that I could play. So I would literally go load in the drums in my dad's car. They drive me to a church and I would play to like Fred Hammond or something, like a legit drum solo. Like at early age. So I was like in women's conferences, youth conferences. We did a cruise. I won the talent show on the cruise.
Playing drums?
Playing drums, yeah.
Okay, so at that point, are you like, I'm going to do this for a living?
I was 6, so I was just having fun. Wow. And so like my mom and dad divorced when I was around 6 or 7. And
how did that affect you? Like your dad being a pastor?
Oh man. It affected me a lot. I think as we continue to talk, we'll kind of get into like just the depth of the effects. But at 6, I was hurt, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. My mom's leaving the house. And that was kind of it. I didn't have any control of it. But it was what it was. But I do think it opened the door for like, even where I'm at now. So I'm 6, my mom goes to this church and the drummer there is doing this thing called Drummers for Jesus. Actually, like this is like a few years ago. This is like a few years later. So I wasn't 6 then, but I was like 12 or 13 at this point. So he's doing this thing called Drummers for Jesus. My mom goes and introduces me to the drummer at 12. And she's like, my son loves drums. He loves music. And we're going to a semi-big church in Texas. And she's like, he loves music. He loves drums. Would you give him lessons? And so he's like, sure. His name's Carlos Benson. He's like, sure. So I go to his house to get my first lesson. And, as every good teacher would, he's like, all right, show me where you are. And then I want to help you get to where you want to be. So I sit down and play. And he's like, you don't need lessons, but I do have this thing called Drummers for Jesus that I want you to be a part of. And so I was like the featured drummer with like Beyonce's drummer. It was like Prince's drummer at the time, Chris Brown's drummer, Gerald Hayward, Aaron Spears, John Blackwell, Nathaniel Townsley, these are all like incredible drummers. Yeah. Chris Coleman was there. So
wait, you're like, what, a few years older than that? You're 10 or 11?
Yeah, I'm 12.
Okay, so how do you have an intuitive knowledge of the drums without knowing anything about them and how to how to say what you're doing?
Yeah, literally Jesus. The church that I grew up in was very like, I say laissez-faire. So you had to either do it
or get off the stage.
Or get off. Yeah, it wasn't like nice. Like,
are we talking black, like a black gospel
absolutely.
church?
Yeah. And so we're like playing shout music at like 200 BPM for 2 hours. So it's like, it's like,
Yeah.
So it's like, it's intense. It's as if you are playing for Chris Brown or Beyonce.
So that's almost like you're thrown into the fire.
Oh, you're thrown in, or you're thrown out. You know what I mean? It's like, like tough conversations that I have today aren't tough at all.
Those were tough conversations.
These
back
are
in
tough.
the day.
Yeah, and so, Yeah, I mean, you're just thrown in and you have to perform. But also, like, there were people along the way that encouraged me, that like taught me. A drummer by the name of Chris Lewis taught me almost everything that I knew up until that point.
Yeah.
Another drummer, Jeremiah Evans, who was at the church at my dad's church at the time. We like had 2 drums set up in the church and played every Sunday. And so I was like playing with the worship team at like 9, you know? And so like the main worship team, I was playing with them at 9. And these are all like really good musicians as well. And so like I was learning and performing at the same time. And so when I get to Carlos at 12, I'm like, I'm gonna just go for what I know, you know?
Not knowing that you'd actually been trained with some of the highest abilities.
Yeah. But he introduced me to guys like Vinny Caliuta, which is a great drummer. He's still one of my favorite drummers today. Tony Royster, and I'm just spouting off like really incredible drummers right now. But like he introduced me to another side, because I only knew my dad's church. But when I go and meet Gerald Hayward and like these guys who are touring musicians, I saw a whole nother side. I met my mentor, Sput Seawright, who is hands down the most incredible musician, at least to me, in the world.
Wow.
And if you like are in the music community, you would know, you'll know, you know. And so like I got to meet a whole new side. So it wasn't just church musician anymore. It was like, oh, there's a such thing as jazz. There's a such thing as like odd meters. You know what I mean? I actually the solo that I played at the on the thing, and it's actually up live on DVD or somewhere, YouTube or something. But it was like in 7. My pedal broke in the middle of my solo, but I just kept playing. And everybody was impressed because I'm 12 and I didn't freak out because my pedal broke. But the training that I had from my background, the drums never worked at my dad's church. So I knew what it was like when I was like,
that's hilarious.
And so like it all just kind of like, you know, it all kind of comes together, you know, at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So, but I've never seen you behind the drums.
I know.
So when did you start doing keys and then production and writing and all that stuff?
And so Sput, who's my mentor, I got the chance. I was teching for him. He played for Snarky Puppy, if you know what Snarky Puppy is. So he's the original I guess the original drummer for Snarky Puppy. All those guys were from Dallas or went to UNT. So I was teching for him like when I was in college and just able to meet Mark Lettieri and Mike Lee and all of these people, Sean Martin, he's also from Dallas as well. But I'm just around all of these incredible musicians. But Sput also played keys and he produced. Like Sput's mom started God's Property, the choir.
Wow.
So Kirk's first situation was because of Miss Seawright. And so like I would look up to him, and so he's playing keys like proficiently, not like struggling. Like he's playing keys and he's playing drums, and he would take me to the studio. I would literally take drums to the studio. It would be me, Kirk, but like whatever artist they're working for, and I'd be in the studio with them. And I just saw my hero doing all of this stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to learn how to do that. Yeah. And so that's really what like got me into like keys and just trying to be more than a musician, you know, than a player.
Right.
You know, and become an actual.
But you're still at that point, you're still what? Teens, preteens?
Yeah, I'm like at 17, 18, 19 at this point.
So it's all hands-on training.
It's all hands-on training. I mean, literally.
Have you ever had a music lesson?
I mean, I took music theory at UNT for a year.
For a year.
But that was I really
you knew everything you needed to know.
I really wanted to learn like what E was on a keyboard. You know what I mean? I knew how to play E, but I didn't know how to tell you E. Like I was just like playing stuff.
So wait, let me ask you about that, because I'm really curious about that. Because all I did was take lessons and recognize the E and the circle of fifths and all that thing. And then in college, I realized, if you know the melody line, and there's a chord above it, you could just play it
You
by
can play
chord.
it.
And that
Yeah.
just destroyed me because I just stopped my theory. For you, you don't have any knowledge. It's all feel, touch,
all
and
feel, yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
When you come into like a course where it's like, oh, that's what I'm playing.
Yeah.
Is it locked in your memory? And then
Yeah.
you're like, okay, got it. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's why I like minored in jazz studies at UNT, because I
Yeah.
was like, man, I want to learn how to, because like, I think as with everything, like good drumming or good music
Yeah.
is learning like placement and dynamics and all. It would be like me reading a cookbook right now.
Right.
I mean, I can cook okay, but
Yeah.
I'm not a chef.
Yeah.
But a chef who knows exactly how much salt, like the cookbook can only enhance what he's feeling in the
Right.
kitchen. And so I think for me, that's what UNT and just learning like all of that stuff is. Like
Yeah.
I know what fifths are, and I know how they relate to the next key. That's honestly how I teach
Yeah.
myself new keys even today. So I grew up playing like A flat minor in church because that was kind of the shout key, right? So I can play a good shout. I can like sit behind a preacher in A
Yeah.
flat. So, but A flat is actually A flat minor is B major. And so when I started playing in white churches, I was like playing in these major chords.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just like play in B all the time. But then the fifth of B is F sharp. And so now I can play in F sharp really well. And then C sharp. Now I can play in C sharp. You know what I mean? And so it just kind of
Right.
build upon itself. Yeah.
Wow.
So even to this day, I'm still like,
You're still learning.
I'm
the
still
whole
learning.
facets
And,
of it.
but I'm also relating it to what I already know. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Is it kind of in your head? Do you see it in your head?
No.
When you're playing, you
I try
don't
to
see stuff in your head?
I try to hear it. If
You
you think,
hear
if for me, if I'm thinking too much creating, then I'm not creating. I'm like mathing it out, and that's not.
So you don't want to be in. You don't want to.
I
be
don't
in
want to
your
be in
head.
my head. No.
Is there ever a panic though that you're like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I going to go? Or have you learned to have like, it's fine.
You just trust instincts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you get too heady, then it doesn't become creative, right? Like we look at scripture, the Lord like created out of just a sense of love and
Right.
and gratitude for creation itself, and not like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we argue about the 7-day creation. Was it created in 7 days? We don't know. Like maybe
Yeah.
he just said, forget the process, forget the math. I'm gonna just build this tree right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
maybe it was 7 days, and he was
Yeah.
just like, forget the process, forget the mathematics of it. I know it takes 6 months for the seed to go into the. Maybe he was just like, I want a tree, and so that's
Yeah.
kind of how I do creativity. I'm like, well, everybody's depending on me to make a decision, and I'm gonna make one.
Right. Hey, you guys, I just want to thank Amazing Life Foundation for making what I do here on this podcast possible. They are my rally team, my biggest supporters. Without Amazing Life, this podcast would not be coming to you. They've just got this insane team of editors. I've just had the best of the best. And I want to just give them a shout out. There's a lot of beautiful things that are coming out of Amazing Life Foundation. And I want you to stay tuned for some of those things. But I just want to shout out to them and thank them for making this podcast possible and bringing this podcast to you every Wednesday and letting me do what I love to do. Okay, so let me ask you a couple of questions like that, because I think I'm a little bit more fascinated in the way people think like that, especially doing what we're doing. We're trying to make money at this.
Yeah.
We're trying to make a living at this. And there's always a tension in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's supposed to be, but there's always a tension in it. So I'm not sure that the tension does come from that heady space of like, okay, in order to, or is it somebody said this is how you do it. And so you're not trying to be a perfectionist, but then there's a little bit of trying to be perfect in what you do, and you want to come to the table, but then you're in a swamp full of comparison, and you're being compared to everything. How for you, especially I think because it is different, like it is so different for you coming to the table with your experiences from Black church, and you're coming in to a predominantly white industry in Christian music. I mean, we've got a gospel industry. We've got the, the BET. We've got those things, but it's a different realm when you're crossing that over into, how is it for you as even a Black man coming in? You're incredibly talented, but how do you balance out the tension and the performance from what it is that God's called you to do?
Well, I think that you have to first recognize one thing that you said, that it is predominantly white.
Yes.
And I think that we are way less advanced mentally and culturally than our technology. And so the ideals and the systems of the world aren't as advanced as like the iPhone or a self-driving car. You know what I mean? And so like all of these ideals, for example, industry standard. So if we're following the industry standard, right? Who created that industry standard? Some white dude, you know what I mean? Like if we're honest, you know what I mean? And so like even like the quote unquote industry standard things aren't set up for me to win. They're set up for the industry to stay the way it is. And as you said, it is predominantly white. You know what I mean? And we'd be fools to say that it's not. I mean, you look at there's John Reddick, Blessing, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, and DeJuan Hill and two of those people they look mixed. You know what I mean? And so and so all of that stuff plays a part into what happens in our industry, how we relate to our industry, how the industry relates with us, and just like the tension, as you said, there is a tension for sure.
What do you think? Are we talking of fear? Because sometimes I feel like I don't have a grid for what we're even talking about, because I don't think on those terms. I'm like, I mean, when I listen to the flavor of different kinds of musics, I'm enamored by all the different genres. You can't listen to, jazz and then jazz way back in the day, and then pop or this or that, and not be like, wow, take something from everything.
Absolutely.
But you can't walk away from gospel, even the way that, you're describing you growing up and playing. That's unheard of in the white culture. That's just not found in the white culture. It's a very dynamic, beautiful, almost like mind-blowing creative thing. Why then is that not something that's so easily talked about and so easily pulled in? Because it's so beautifully articulated and done. Why do you think that is? It's music, for crying out loud.
I mean, I think that, and just gonna be completely honest, I think that the advantage that I will say white people have is that they are able to create systems in which they are the winners, and so and that's like that's just societally, that's everywhere, that's not just CCM. I'm not trying to say anything against CCM, but I do think that there is something to be said about, if I were white, I could just go create a system in which it allows me to be the winner. So I don't have to be technically sound. I don't have to have talent. I just win because of who I am. You know what I mean? And but that doesn't take away from the people that are talented, right? Like there are so many people that I look up to that are my friends that don't look like me, that I'm like, man, what you're doing is great. Also, the reality is I am a better musician than them. You know what I mean? Like there are what made Maverick City so successful is that they just took these really raw singers and put them on CCM records. And they were killing it. Like Naomi hands down, is
Yeah.
like, she's a killing singer. You know what I mean? Chandler
Yeah.
is a killing singer. So you put him over 4 chords, he'll destroy it.
Yeah.
You put musicians who grew up the way that I did over 4 chords only.
Yeah.
I'm gonna destroy those. I'm gonna make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to make them sound like 4 chord, like you've never heard them ever. You know.
Yeah.
And so, but I think the advantage is that people can create systems in which they are always the winners, no matter what. And that dates back to 60 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
killing Martin Luther King was
Right.
a way to say, no, it doesn't matter how big you feel like your voice is. It ain't bigger than the system that I've created to win.
Yeah. Okay, so then how is it the same conversation we're having over and over and
It
over?
is.
How do we change? Because I don't think like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think like that because I'm raising a black kid. I think that helps. But I adopted a kid. He could have been red, orange, green, or yellow. Like it didn't matter to me. I just wasn't raised in a grid to think anybody higher than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I think there's got to be more of us around that kind of think like that. How do we change the narrative so that music actually can be for everybody?
And I think it can. I think that the art of self-preservation will kick in to a certain degree, right? I think if we start to believe that everybody can win, but I think that there's a lot of animosity, and I think that there's a lot of pride, ego, that gets in the way of like truly being what God has called us to be, right? Because I don't expect the world to do that. I don't expect somebody who doesn't profess to really truly love God to try to right the wrong. But I do, when I'm in CCM and when I'm in these Christian spaces, I do expect a level of like, okay, first of all, our foundation is Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
And then we kind of look at everything else from that lens. And so I think that we have to just, one, stop lying to ourselves and saying that, oh man, everything's great. Because go look at the top 100 media base right now.
Yeah.
Everything, there's not a balance there.
Right.
It's a bunch of white writers and producers and artists making
You're
money.
right. You're
You know what I
absolutely
mean?
right. Yeah.
And that might not all be 100 white artists and producers, and you know what I mean.
But there's a lot.
The majority,
Yeah.
and I would venture out to say 90% of that list isn't. You know what I mean? And so I think we first just have to like cut the crap. You know what I mean? And like,
well, when you're looking at the drastic opposite in the mainstream, and the top,
right.
I mean,
Right.
I would say it's mostly rap right now, right?
Yeah, pop. I mean, pop, R&B.
Yeah.
But again, we've created a system in which we can win, and that system was CCM. You know what I mean? Like, pop, nah.
Yeah.
R&B, no.
Yeah.
I mean, truthfully, Christian artists wouldn't be able to sell in pop. Christian artists wouldn't be able to sell in R&B. Christian artists wouldn't be able to excel in like folk, right? I mean, like folk is probably the closest thing to a CCM artist. You know what I mean? And so we create this system in which we can win. And so we won't even play your game. We won't do that. We'll just go do what we feel like is like the easiest thing, and then literally block everybody out. And so if it's not Nashville chorus, or if it's not like the most perfectly tuned vocal and the kick and clap right on exactly where I need it to be, then it's not for us.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask you this, because this is something that, because you as a black man and a black artist and a black musician are fighting those things that are there, staring at you in the face constantly. When you come to the table and you know what God's given you, and you know the talent that God's given you, and you know that there's a place that God has set for you at the table.
Yeah.
How how do you get there in your own personal wrestle with ego?
Yeah.
Because you're not just trying to get there along with other people that are walking in the same through the same door as you, but you're now a black man walking in a door with 4 white guys.
Yeah.
So how do you approach that with the checkpoint of God being like, I don't have to fight for this. The Lord's going to go before me. Like, how is that for you? How is that journey for you?
Well, I think this, now going back to the divorce question, is plays a huge part in this. And this is something that I'm learning even now. I heard somebody say, referencing a court case that's happening, and they were like, well, people are saying that it's a shakedown. And then one of the commentators said, well, he's giving them a lot to shake down. You know what I mean? And so I've had to learn to do a lot of personal growth. Yeah. So I don't give anybody room to say anything. Because when I am walking in those rooms with 4 people that don't look like me, they're just waiting on me to make a mistake. You know what I mean? And the moment that you do, then it's over, and I think that is one of the biggest things that I've learned. I have to be holy. I can't give anybody even a perception of, like, I can't give anybody anything to then say, because I could always blame XYZ. And I think that, there's something to be said about gossip being a sin as well. Yeah. But I could always blame somebody saying, oh, well, they misunderstood me, or they did this thing. And then some cases, those things are true. But I also have to look at myself in the mirror and say, well, did I give them something to misperceive, or did I give them something to, and so I feel like that's what I'm learning, is to be as ultimately wise as a serpent and soft as a dove. I have to be clean. I have to be holy. I have to stay in my word. I got to be focused at all times. I can't have a day off. We not friends. We ain't family. We ain't, you know what I mean? I can't just come up in here and put my feet on the couch, because the moment that I do, y'all are like, what is this? You know what I mean? And so I like it.
But that's not, I mean, it's like, that sounds like it's so, you have to be on all the time.
Well, you have to find spaces, and I've learned to find the spaces that I can be comfortable in, and find my friends that I can confide in, and find mentors. And honestly, there are people that look like me that I talk to, that I'm like, man, I'm going through this, or man, I'm married with kids. It's like, if I have a spout with my wife, or if I'm in a situation, I'm probably going to go to somebody who looks like me and who's kind of been in the same thing, to say, hey, look, this is how I handled it. This is how, and it's like that. At least for me, that's how I deal with that.
But it still sounds like you have to be kind of on guard. Oh,
absolutely. Everybody is.
Wow.
Everybody is.
Is it crazy for me to think that there would be a day when you didn't?
No, everybody is. I mean, everybody to a degree is not their full self, they're being wise about what they're showing and what they're not. Like, that's Instagram, right? You're not posting a raw photo on Instagram. Right. We live in a society that feeds off of facades, ultimately. And I'm not saying that everybody's totally fake, but at the same time, you got to be wise about who you're being real with. And because I try to treat everybody the same. I think for me, comfortability is comfortable. And so I try to treat everybody the same, man, woman, child. I just try to treat everyone the same. And I realize that everybody can't take my sarcasm. Everybody can't take my hint. You know what I mean? Course, everybody can't take this, what I think about this. And so, I just have to be wise about all right, if it's going to be business, it's business, Okay,
so, but then where's the space for you to feel the joy of what you do? Like, do you carry the joy of what you do, where when you're coming to the table, it's not always like, got to be on guard, got to make sure that you protect yourself here, got to make sure that, you know, you're aware of the white code, black code, you know, that whole thing. It's like, that feels almost, it sounds exhausting. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the joy is in the activity of creating, right? Like, it is crazy because like a lot of my heroes musically are like 60s artists, Marvin Gaye. I'm blanking. Every time I try to list names, Sam Cooke, Sly, Sylvester, Sly and the Family Stone, Michael Jackson. Like, you look at real creatives and they all have a little like crazy about them. You know what I mean? Like, it's that tension is exactly what you're talking about that makes creativity real. You know, the Taylor Swift's greatest albums are about real life. You know what I mean? Like, it's about like this tension of I have to perform and all of these things are happening in my life, and where do I find freedom? In my creativity. So I could be in a room with people I hate and create because I'm gonna create something real and something deep and something that means something to me because I feel, you know, the greatest music, the greatest, you know, songs and things like that just pull emotion out of people. And so I don't mind the tension. I don't mind the rub. I don't mind all of that because it just feeds. The joy is like, man, I'm creating something really cool right now.
Hey, I want to take some time to just, again, thank Amazing Kids Curriculum. I love Amazing Kids. Connie and Tyler Bates have created an incredible children's curriculum for churches. And what is so great about this is if you're planting a church and you are, maybe perhaps you're in a church that's maybe not a big church, but it's a small church that's growing, but you really need Bible-based, Holy Spirit-filled curriculum for your littles in your church. This curriculum is stunning. You can access this by going to amazing.kids and looking through their material and how to sign up for your type of church. Again, this is incredible curriculum. It is Bible, theology-based, Holy Spirit-filled curriculum, and you will not be disappointed in what God does with this curriculum and how he uses it to bring life and the word to the kids in your church. Okay, but what about, walk me through this thought process if you have it, because I know I struggle with it too, because when I'm thinking about all of the creative potential, when you come to this keyboard, when you've got your Ableton out, when you're, you know, producing a track, when you're doing that thing, you're thinking about how to make it the greatest that it possibly can be. And what I find myself kind of frustrated at as a musician, even though I realize I'm not the greatest musician, but when I hear something greater than I am, I'm hungry. I'm super hungry for that. And normally it's not from the Christian industry I'm getting that from. And I have kind of an issue with that because my BFF is the creator of the universe, who I can just turn to and say, hey, can you help me do this? And who has done things and asked me to do things I never thought I'd be doing that are in different parts of creative expression that I'm like, what? Like I don't know why when I came into salvation, I didn't know I could pull the creator. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that I feel like there's a world in the creative Christian culture that's not even tapping into all that it can be tapped into. Because what I'm sometimes hearing from the world, I'm kind of drawn more to than I'm drawn to the Christian industry. And there's a little bit of like discontention in there. Like I'm not okay with that, because I'm like, I want to do something great. Like I'm always thinking about that, even in my late 50s. I'm like, I want to do something so great that that it blows people away because nobody ever thought of it before. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to get someplace at 58 that nobody else has ever gotten. I'm saying that because when I look at the potential of creative expression in, maybe it's a melody line that I have. Maybe it's something, maybe it's something that releases something on other people. Maybe it's a piece of art that I create, or maybe it's, I'm like, how come we're not, I'm looking around, I'm like, how come we're not hungry enough for this? How does that sit with you? Because we can get caught up in, well, I want a Grammy, I want a Dove Award, I want this. Or it's like, I don't even think like that. Sometimes I'm like, no, I want to do something everybody's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I strongly feel that way. And anybody who knows me, they're probably like, man, this dude's the most arrogant person I've ever met in my life. But I mean, I feel like if we're honest, we should all have that drive, right? Like, we should all be trying to pull out everything that God has in us to the foreground, And I, as you said, I don't think it's a place of like, for me, arrogance is a place of, no, I want to maximize everything God has given me, and we should, because as you said, like, the world is doing that. They give everything to like one record. They'll put 9 producers on the record to make it sound the absolute best. And most of our albums have one. You know what I mean? And so I do think that the era of like social media is helping with that, because the radio doesn't necessarily run the artist in, to a certain extent. And so I do think like social media helps with allowing Christian creatives to be more creative, because the radio and the label is not your only outlet anymore. You could post, if you go viral on TikTok or Instagram, then the only thing that the label can give you at that point is money, and so it's just balancing the tension, being honest about what you want. Some people want radio, I mean, I've gone into, what I mean? Like, we do the thing, and it's like, well, or if you create something that's a little edgy and that artist takes it back to their label, they'll never let them release it. You know what I mean? Never. And so it's just like, it's just finding a balance of like, okay, what do you want? Who am I working with? And like, what are we really trying to, like, don't tell me what you wish. Like, what are we really trying to accomplish here? And so, but again, I think with social media and all that stuff, like, there is room for creativity, but also, I mean, some of the sweetest things that I've like been a part of, and not even just like record wise, has happened like in a prayer room at Upper Room, like with nobody there. You know what I mean? And so like,
but you recognize that, and you're changed by that, and then that puts almost a pin in you for, okay, the feeling in this, I don't want to get away from that, but. Does that help you with the balance of, I want a Grammy?
Yeah and no. I think, I always, well, not always, but I'm often thinking about that time in my life, being in the prayer room. And I'm like, man, it was just so simple, because I just got up at 6 a.m., myself, Corey Russell, Julian Gamboa, and we just in the prayer room. Sometimes I wasn't even playing. I would just be praying. I would be a prayer leader, like reading my Bible. And Corey Russell's just doing his thing, and I'm like, you know what I mean? And I'm just in the atmosphere. Some days I wish that, man, like I missed that aspect of it. And just the rest that was there, the non-accomplishment aspect that was there. But it is a balance. But I also think that like you can win a Grammy without selling out, which it's like, it's, I don't know. I just think that you can win a Grammy or do the things that you want to do
without
having
losing
to
your soul to it.
in which I'm learning that, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm absolutely learning with like even like my personal life. You know, I'm out of a publishing deal. I'm like not like, you know, whatever. I'm like not writing with the people that people think I should be writing with.
Yeah.
But I'm finding myself in situations that I never thought that I would be in. I'm getting calls from people that I never thought that I would get. And so maybe the route that I thought that I needed to take to like create the success was not, because I feel like what I'm doing now will make me more successful in the long run.
Yeah, Derek, do you ever kind of like in this journey with the Lord? I mean, you're so much younger than me, but I feel like just recently too, I don't know why it's taken me so long, but when you're in a business like we've been in the business, it's a business.
Yeah,
it's a business. We could call it a ministry all day long, but the reality of it is when music is being put up on a platform, it's a business.
It turns into it. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, the moment that you publish a song, it becomes transactional, no matter what.
and I don't think that there's anything God's like, well, I can't handle that because it's transactional. Because I remember the Lord saying, you know, hey, do you want royalty checks or do you want to raise the dead? To me, at a young age. I don't think that the Lord was saying that royalty checks were bad. I think what he was asking me in the sense was, what is it going to be for you that's going to set you apart from everybody else? Because royalty checks could set you apart from everybody else. But if royalty checks all of a sudden create a space in you that you stop seeing that dead people need to be raised, then we've got a problem. And what I felt called to is that I needed to speak to the Spirit more than I spoke to. And that's me personally. Everybody has their own personal thing. But in the process of all that, I've kind of come into this place where I think that my conviction has been of late that I may have forgotten that, you know, some of the routes that we go through, getting a Grammy, to desire that, I don't think that's a bad desire. Getting a Dove Award, I don't think that's a bad desire. But I think if you're losing the route, you know, I mean, I missed out on so many different things in my life thinking, oh my gosh, that was my big break. Oh my gosh, that was my big break. And I think I lean more into, okay, but if it wasn't the Lord, what else does he have for me? And I think I'm coming into a place where I'm like, oh, this is such a more beautiful season because I'm seeing that ended so that this could begin. That ended so that this could begin. And a lot of us aren't patient enough to wait out those rainy months where it's like, I don't know what the Lord is doing. It's like, you can cry out and cry out and cry out. There's enough of that in Scripture. But there is going to come a day when you're going to be able to say, oh, that's what the Lord was doing the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And has that been a hard trek for you do you have a knowing deep in your gut that I know that these things are going to happen? I just know these things are going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And I think what you said was like so pivotal to like our walk with the Lord, right? Like, and the trust that we have to have in him.
You can't get to the table without that.
You cannot get to the table. And I think it is so pivotal. Like I talked to my daughter about 1 Corinthians 13. And it talks about speaking in tongues and doing all of these crazy things, giving yourself to be burned. But if you don't love, then it means absolutely nothing. And then it goes on to explain what love is, you know, patience, peace, kindness, self-control, gentleness, and long-suffering, and all these things. And I feel like that is where I hinge my life. I'm like, man, I just want to love people well. And I'm not perfect, so I'm going to make mistakes, right? Like Hebrews 11, it talks about all of these people that in their journey was them making mistakes. The way that they got to the place that the Lord was leading them was through a whole bunch of failures, you know. And I used to say, like, man, I'm feeling upwards. It feels like, but it's exactly what you said. It is one season has to end for another to begin. And I feel like if you trust the Lord enough, even if it's your fault that the season ended,
Yeah.
you have to know that the Lord is able to redeem the next season.
Yeah. Yeah. How come that's so difficult for us as Christians to let a season go?
I think two things. I think that our culture has told us to cancel over covering people. And as Christians, we're not called to cancel. We're called to cover people. And people don't allow people to be people, you know?
Yeah.
And which
Yeah.
means is, man, if my brother's hurting, I'm not going to go gossip about him. I'm not going to cancel
Yeah.
him. I'm not going to post
Yeah.
silly stuff on Instagram or even have one-on-one conversations about a mistake that somebody made. Because guess what? Everybody has their day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody. It don't matter, big, small, rich, poor. There will be a time where you need to be covered, where you need
Yeah.
grace, where you need forgiveness. And so I think that side is like, we're not allowed to be humans. I mean, we're not allowed to fail. We're not allowed to. I mean, David basically raped somebody,
Yeah.
killed her husband.
Yeah.
That person would be so buried under a church right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that we should allow that to happen at church, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
but
Okay, but where is the line? Like, you know, yeah, I did a podcast just as a,
Yeah.
my focus was mercy.
yeah,
With the Michael Tate
Yep.
issue.
yeah,
And there is so much of that that's so prevalent.
Yeah.
And there's so much of our culture in Christianity that is just like shocked.
yeah. I
We're
mean,
so shocked. I'm not shocked.
Yeah,
Are you
right.
shocked by what people have the capability of
Oh, no,
doing?
absolutely
That
not.
doesn't
No.
that doesn't like ruffle my feathers.
I think the line is Romans 8:1. There's no condemnation for
Yeah.
those who are in Christ Jesus. And if Michael is truly in Christ Jesus, I mean, and this is with people hurt. This is with all of that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And we don't excuse that, right? I feel like everyone needs to be handled in the way that like it is appropriate for them
Yeah.
to handle. And I would even say for me, just practically, if you're not breaking the law, like breaking the law is one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like
Crossing those boundaries.
yeah, crossing the law boundary because we are called to follow
Right.
rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're not called to like do that. And so I would say just practically, if you're breaking the law, doing things that are unlawful, harming people
Yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
that should be handled according to how the law is handled.
Yeah.
So if somebody's hurting somebody, they should go to jail.
Yeah.
And that's it. And like, and if they're like the church has at that point, the church has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You have to we love you, but you gotta
work that out.
yeah, you gotta work
Yeah.
that out with that. And so I would say that first, but now let's take a step down,
Yeah.
right? And so everyday sins, things that are lawful but not beneficial to your
Yes,
spiritual
yes,
life.
yes.
I think that those things should be cared for with cover, rather than being canceled for somebody misunderstanding you.
Why do you think mercy is so hard for people to?
Because people like drama. I mean, look at TV. Look at somebody's Netflix account.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a bunch of shows with a bunch of trash.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not for 100% of the population, but I don't know, man. I truly think that people would rather going back to the self-preservation, going back to trying to create a system
Yeah.
for where I win by talking bad about somebody else, and I think that for me, like I've honestly dealt with that a lot. Like
Yeah.
people will literally come to me and say, hey, so-and-so said something. And I'm like, who? Well, I can't tell you. And this is what, well, then what did they say? Well, I can't tell you. And I'm like, well, what are we talking about?
Right.
Do you know that gossip is a sin?
Yeah.
Unless you are going to have a conversation,
Right.
I'm not trying to have a conversation with you. That's gossip, but two, that's just cowardice to like come to somebody with like, oh, so-and-so said this, but I'm not going to tell you who it was, and I'm not going to tell you what they said. Well, why are you telling me?
Right.
You know what I mean? And to go tell so-and-so, if they have a problem with me, they're just call me. Man, I don't even own a gun. I ain't gonna. I'm scared of jail. I'm not trying to go to jail. I got a family. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think that we're just stooped in like this gossip, cancel.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's funny. You can go talk about somebody behind their back, but gossip is a sin, man. Gossip and like. Cancel culture is a sin. I don't think it's godly. I don't think the Lord would be canceling people or gossiping about people or doing that weird cowardice. Who's doing? I have information that you don't have type of thing. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to mock anybody.
No, I think it's actually it's so refreshing because it's so interesting to me too that a lot of these kind of conversations, especially with regard to, you know, those of us that have confessed with our mouth and believe in our hearts that Jesus is King. And I'm just like, wow, but you don't think he's not okay with that? Like he's not okay with that.
Well, the Bible says that they profess with their mouths, but their hearts are far from
him.
And I think there are a lot of people who feel like they're living Christian lives. That may be surprised. And then there are a lot of people who are struggling in their faith, but they're so dedicated to the little that they have that the Lord will bless, you know? And so I feel like I try to tote that line of, again and again, I will repeat, illegal issues needs to be dealt with in legal matters. But if it's not illegal and we're just talking about petty perceptions, then we we need to learn how to handle and have adult conversations in our Christian circles. That be men and women, women and women, men and men, and all the way around. Like we need to be adult enough to have, if I don't like something you did or said, I should be able to just come and tell you,
say it.
Hey, I didn't like what you did or said. And if my response is, well, F you, get out of my face, I don't like, then we can like take it up a notch. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, when you're not allowing people to say, oh yeah, I did say that, I'm sorry. Then like what's like there's no conclusion, there's no resolve. It's confusion, it's lies, and who's the father of that? Who's the accuser?
Yeah, that's so good. Hey, a little segue here to just remind those of you who really love what the podcast is carrying, love what I do. You know that I mentor, you know that I work with creative and artists. We are in some exciting things this year with my nonprofit, Wearing Justice, but I can't do a lot of these things unless I have help and donations. We are a charitable organization, a nonprofit, and it's Christian education based. And if you are out there and you love to donate to things that not just inspire people, but heal people while people are being inspired, would you consider donating to my nonprofit, Wearing Justice? If you just click this QR code that you're seeing on the screen, you can donate and give any amount of donation. It was greatly appreciated. I would so appreciate it because I can keep doing what I feel like God's called me to do and really keep believing in artists everywhere and how God is using the arts to heal people's heart. And I love that. I just love what I do. I want to keep this up, but I need your help to do it. So would you consider today making a donation to Wearing Justice and help keep this all up and running? Okay, I'm going to switch gears. And I'm just going to ask you, like, when you're writing songs, you're so great because you come to the table as like a producer too. So you have all those other facets, like you're hearing all the bells and whistles. What's been like a song that you have so much memory on that was like, man, this was a good day? like in songwriting? This made me want to do this for the rest of my life.
It's funny. I feel like a lot of my good songs aren't out yet. which is kind of funny. But I think honestly, just creating with friends, just getting to create with like friends, and so people come to Nashville all the time to create and to write and stuff like that.
But you love that. You love that whole process.
I love that process. I just love like getting to create. And not just like the 3-hour thing, but ordering food at the session and like spending like 7 hours and just hanging out. I think that is like the thing that keeps me going.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in it from the sun up to the sun down.
I try. Yeah. I'm like, I don't see it as work. It's fun for me. I'm learning, even if I don't necessarily, quote unquote, like the song. Obviously, that's like a subjective thing. But if I'm like, okay, how can I make this sound as cool as possible? I may not be into the lyrics, but I'm just trying to make it sound just great, Yeah. And so I'm like challenging myself in that process, in the production of it. So
is that the emphasis now too for you? Is that you think more on the production level of it?
Well, it just depends on who I'm with. There are some writers that like I'm learning from. There are some writers where I'm like,
so much. It's hard for me to believe you're
No, I mean there are writers that are just like, I mean, writing with you is like,
but I'm not like. You've been with some of the best of the best.
Well, everybody has their process, and I think for me, it's always cool to just be like, again, I'm a musician first, and so being a part of a band means that I can only play keys, and so I have to trust the bass to play bass, and the drummer to play drums, and the guitarist to play guitars, and the organ to do the organ thing, and so I'm always going in thinking collaboration. I'm never thinking I have the best idea because we're all usually coming in with something, you know what I mean? And then we're just trying to cook up something, and so.
But you love that process.
I love it.
Yeah.
I call David Spencer to co-produce a lot because I just like being in a room with him listening to music. You know what I mean?
He's a young pup too.
Yeah. He's like, and he's incredible, but it's like, I like the collaborative aspect.
Wow.
Like when he and I are trading ideas, I mean, we have some really cool stuff coming, and we're in a session with this group, and it was like, I'm playing drums, and like it's just everybody's just doing things. It's like 3 producers in the room, and I'm just like, I could live here for the rest of my life. I hate the fact that like I can make a song on my laptop. I don't really even like that because.
So you stuck in a room.
I don't like it.
You don't like it.
I don't like it. I mean, I do it. It's cheaper. It's, you know what I mean? There's like, I don't have to wait on anybody.
But that's not where the cloud is.
No.
Wow. No. That's great. I mean, just, I had Leonard Ray here. And I mean, when you're talking to him about it, the way he sees things, it's just so, everybody sees things so differently.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like this. He was talking a lot about just what it looks like in a room and what the joy in a room is. But it's like when he's creating, he's always thinking of like the sound of God's voice.
Yeah.
Things like that it's just like, it's so wild to me how everybody, what they think when they create, because it is like, not all of us are very different in how we see things.
Yeah.
I don't like being the center.
Yeah.
I'm like in my happiest moment if I'm like, kind of in the background, not having to do everything, but just facilitating vocals or, because it's like having everything that I have to do or running a band or like when you don't have an MD, so you're kind of trying to tell the drummer and, it's like, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But when I'm just sitting back, it's why I've loved doing stuff with you just here, because it's like, the free zone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so even in that, right? Like even in this dynamic, it's like, okay, when you have 2 people or 10 people that trust each other,
Yeah.
that is the most beautiful, because then you don't have to be the main person. Like Leonard gets to do his thing, or whoever is there gets to do their thing. I just get to show up as fully me. You get to show up as fully you. And I think that is like, I mean, me and David in a room, like he gets to be his best self and I get to be my best self as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that for me is like why I create. Like that is why Jesus created. The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit being their absolute most selves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're being 100% them. And then they're getting to create out of that love expression.
So like, if at the end of your life, you could hear the Lord say about you what you would love to hear the Lord say about you, what would it be?
This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. This is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased.
So he doesn't have to say anything about what you did.
I mean, and honestly, like, truthfully, 6 months ago, that answer probably would have been different.
Wow.
But also, it's like, maybe not, because when I do something, I do want to be the best at it. I'm never running a race to be last. You know what I mean? And and hopefully none of us are. And so I think the competitive nature that God has placed in me is healthy. You know, I can love God.
Yeah, that's actually a great point.
Yeah, and
the competitive nature that God that is in you, God has put in you.
Yeah. And so maybe it would have been the same, but also I would tell people all the time, man, if I could just, if I could do this or do that or do this, and they'd be like, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, that too, like it's not things can coexist, And so I do want whatever the Lord has for me, and I am competitive, and I do want to be the best, and blah blah blah. But also, like, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, like I'm a son to God, I read my Bible every day, and I'm, trying to walk and be healthy. There's so many facets to me that music is not just all of who I am. Yeah. Like when I walk with me and my wife walk our neighborhood every morning, I'm not making music. I'm just trying to be healthy. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to take care of my body, you know? And so I think for me, yes, it would be true even 6 months ago. And also I'm not shying away from being competitive.
Yeah. Are your parents proud of you?
Well, my mom was. My mom passed away.
She passed away.
Yeah. And so she definitely was. I have a very estranged relationship with my dad, which I just pray for every day, and we have to figure it out. But I mean, every artist that I play, when my mom was alive, every artist that I played with, my mom was like going to the concerts, and she'd be like, "Where is that so and so?" So I go introduce her to this artist, and she literally stick her finger in their chest and be like, "You better take care of my son." Like, she's like, whatever I did, she was just all for. Yeah. And so,
how many siblings do you have? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
So my mom's only child, but on my dad's side, I have two older sisters and a little brother.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you credit a lot of your endurance and passion to your mom?
Oh, absolutely.
And the belief?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean...
Boy, she'd love that kid of yours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my mom died when Aubrey was 5, I think. And, man, it's just... I mean, my grandma's still alive. Her mom is still alive. And so we talk about it often, just how... so proud of my daughter she would be.
Oh, your daughter's like something
You would
else.
know. My mom was the type of person that you would know her. Like anybody that I work with, she would come. She'd be a part of every double word. She'd be a part of everything that I'm doing. She wasn't hands off. She was like, I've created you. I'm gonna invest.
She was your Donda.
She was like she invested a lot, and not just like money, like time, like presence. She invested so much. Like her life was to invest in my life, and I feel like it's paying off.
Yeah, because you have that personality. you carry such a pastor's heart too, for just raising up and believing in people that can do it.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel like that then comes from her because she?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, and I said this before, but like she would take the most, I mean, we grew up in the hood. The high school that my mom worked at, she had been shot at. There's a shootout in the hall. There's been shootouts in the hallway. She's gotten her car stolen from the parking lot by a student. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to come back the next day and go to school, and you're gonna steal the teacher's car. Like, that's not the smart, you know. And so we were in the hood, but she cared for those people. Like, there were probably 2,000 people at her funeral. You know, students from years and years. Some of them are doing things that they probably never thought that they would do because of just somebody pouring into them. And so I think for me, like that's kind of where I get that from. And I also think, like, honestly, I probably wouldn't make as many mistakes as I've made too if she were still here. I mean, she died when I was, you know, very young and at the height of my life at the time. And so, yeah, she was somebody that I could talk to about anything and everything.
But man, she must have had some pretty thick prayers because you turned out all right. Yeah. I mean, I always, you know, even as an older person, because losing my mom at 21 and realizing she'd spent most of her life on her knees. Yeah. And she had 6 of us. Yeah, wow. And it's like, I you know, out of all the kids on any of the aunts and uncles, the 6 of us stuck it out with the Lord with no parents. Yeah. I mean, so it's like, whoa, the prayers of the saints.
Yeah. I mean, I still have her old Bible and journal. I don't read it. Yeah. But it's at my house. And I mean, it's kind of the same for me. Like, all of my cousins in jail, murders. Like, I come from a very, 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 very tough background, you know. And so having to, like, just deal with that and sit with that. But it's the prayers of my parents, really. You know, my dad always says, like, all of my kids are in church, you know what I mean? And that means something. Because, like, pastors' kids are some of the worst. You know what I mean? Just because of all the trauma, really. It's not even like that. It's not
and the expectation.
The expectation, and so, but for us to love the Lord and for me to be doing what I'm doing at the level that I'm doing it with no prior experience. I didn't know what a pub deal was when I got, you know what I mean? And so there's nobody before me. I don't have some uncle who was in the music industry or things like that. Place. Yeah. And so it's been a really cool experience. And then just like being able to look back and just be like, man, she would be proud of me.
She would be proud. Hey guys, I want to just take a little segue here and tell everybody and get the word out about the new community and tribe that I am in the middle of right now on ritaspringer.com. If you want more content, I've had a lot of people ask me for, when are you going to do this? And when are you going to do that? And when are you going to do this? Well, I have created a platform on my website under the tab community where you will be then taken to tribes. And I am inviting you to be part of my tribe. On that, there is a subscription tier that you can subscribe to where you can get different content. We are doing Bible studies and daily devotionals and throwing some cooking shows in there on my favorite recipes and doing mentorships and songwriting things that we're going to be uploading this year. So if you want to be part of my tribe, part of my community, please go to ritaspringer.com, click on that community tab and join my community. What is the thing that you love most about the church, the Big C? And what is the thing that you just have still such a hard time with?
Yeah, I mean, I love real community. And when you can find it, it is very precious. Yeah. I love being able to be human. Yeah. You know, people not allowing people to be people. I just want to be a person, you know what I mean? And I want to be a person who's after the heart of God. Yeah. David being a man after God's own heart didn't mean David following every single thing that God told him to do. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
David was still a human being, but he was a man after God's heart.
Yeah.
And so I love places that I can be that and that reciprocate that for not just me, but for my family. And I think the thing that I hate, to just kind of answer the question with one, is that I get a lot of attention in churches and not my wife or my kids, because I'm bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they forget about the family. And then, it's just the imbalance of that, I think, is just one of the biggest things.
It's so funny how we're wired like that in church culture too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird to me.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you just embrace the whole family?
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so like I've just, for me and my household, like we're just like, man, we want that synergy. We want that, like that place to be planted and grow and to put roots in. Because again, when I'm not producing, I have to be a husband, and I got to be a better husband than I am producer. Yeah. I got to be a better father than I am songwriter. You know what I mean? I have to be a better, like person, friend, or you know what I mean, like provider than I am whoever I'm supposed to be in the creative world. But when you're only feeding that one thing, then it could feel, it could feel imbalanced. And so I think that's like the biggest thing that we are looking for in this season. It's like, man, where can we all be planted to where our family can be the root, and all of the extra fruits that come from that can be fruitful. Yeah, because I'm not fruitful as a producer if your family's so if the pastor don't know my wife's name, you know what I mean? He can't tell me, he can't tell me her last name, and we got the same last name.
Wow, well, that's so good. Okay, one last question. What advice, as a musician, would you give a young teenage, college-age kid who has been going to church maybe their whole life, but they don't maybe like church, but they want to play, they want to play music, they want to produce, they want to do that. What advice would you give young people coming up in the worship realm or the Christian industry realm today? Yeah.
Well, we're assuming that this person has talent. And, that's the ability to actually do the thing. Yeah. Man, it's so funny because, I think the proper answer would be like to stick it out, but a lot of people get hurt in church. Yeah. A lot of people find, like not the best situations in church. And so I would say just root yourself in the word, root yourself in like God. Yeah. Because what people do is they get mad at people and then they leave God. I'm like, man, God didn't hurt you. That person did. Like God is.
And I'm always like, poor God.
Yeah. Like God, he's taking the blame for a lot of different people's mistakes. And so, I would say, man, get in the word and then just be the best that you can be, and your gifts will make room for you. I've been in places where, I'm clearly the best person there, and like someone else has been there long. Oh, you know what I mean? I've been in so many different situations, but the thing that keeps me is like I'll never run away from God. I'll never run away from, even if I am like not in it, if I'm not hitting the mark as I should, there's something in the back of my head that's like, you're not hitting the mark. You know what I mean? Like there's something in the back of my head that's telling me, hey, you need to get in your word. You need to pray. And so I think that like the Holy Spirit is the foundation of everything that I at least try to do. Yeah. I'm obviously not going to do that perfectly, but I'm trying a lot. And so I think effort in the word, effort spiritually, will allow you to face those, because when one door closes, another one opens. One opportunity has to end for another to begin. And so you might be in a place right now that you think, this is, if I could just get on this, if I could just get on that stage. And as soon as that door closes, something might open And then you're like, oh, this is perfect. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, this is why I had to leave that place. And so that's what I would say. Just be consistent in the Lord. You know, obviously have the talent and the gift to do it. And then the Lord will see to it that you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. That's so good. So good. Is there something that you would love to accomplish in your lifetime that sometimes seems near impossible, but it's the dream, the big dream? Like, is there like an artist you want to play with or write with?
Oh, no. I want to end well.
You want to end
I want to end well. I want to leave a really good legacy. I want to end well.
Yeah.
You know, I want to retire well. I want to be able to enjoy my family. I want to be able to enjoy my wife when our kids leave.
Yeah.
When I'm not writing songs anymore, I don't want to have to worry about money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to end well.
Yeah.
I want to end really well. You know, I want to be able to do enough work now that I can just end well. And that's in everything, spiritually, financially, physically, you know, land, property would be cool, you know, but I want to end well.
And don't you think it's okay to ask God for that?
Yeah. I mean, it says that, what is it? A wise man leaves a legacy to the fourth generation. And so I think the greatest, the greatest people are people that we still can glean information off of, you know, that have done things to a point to where we're still like, man, he's long gone. Yeah. But we're like, man, that was like special, you know? And so whether that's my kids or the world, like I that's that for me, like that's so good. The biggest dream.
That's so great. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I feel like a lot of people get the abrasive, competitive side of me, but there's definitely more, you know?
No, but I think I love the fact that you're honest about that, because that's another subject that's really not talked about. Yeah. The competitive part, I think that is the Lord. Like I mean, we kind of see it in both the good and the bad ways in the disciples. Yeah. You know? But it's also human nature, and it's I think it's really part of the DNA even of a man. Yeah. That, you know, to get to the table, you have to have some oomph to get to the table, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, because I mean, the life will push you over. Yeah. You have to learn how to push back.
It will, you know? So, thank you for this time, for sure.
You're the best.
Yeah.